first of all, let's start with the correlation today. So what we will talk about today is the correlation. Let me take you to a file. Okay, so let me take you to an open. Okay, so the first topic is the correlation, right? So anybody please tell me what is correlation? कोई बताएगा मुझे? What is the correlation?
Relationship between two variables.
Yes. So this is the main basic definition of correlation. Correlation, relationship between two variables, right? So let's take an example. Price of onions and supply of onions. If I take this example, price of onions and supply of onions. So what is the kind of the relationship? If the price increases, if I say the price increases, अगर price increase होता है, तो sorry, अगर supply increase होता है और price, तो price क्या हो जाएगा? Decrease हो जाएगा.
Decrease.
हाँ, decrease हो जाएगा, right? So what kind of a relationship is this? So this is one example. Let's take another example. The demand. If the यहाँ पे लिखते हैं price increases and demand will decreases, है ना? Price increases, demand decreases, right? Supply increases, price. What is this kind of a relationship between two variables? So what we have taken right now is what we are trying to do. We are trying to find out the relationship between two variables, right? So हम दो variables में we are trying to find out the relationship. So onions with respect to their onions, the prices of onions with respect to it, demand and supply. So what we have seen here is if the supply increases, so price will decrease, that is but natural. And if the price increases, the demand will, if the price increases, the demand will decrease, right? So what kind of a relationship that you find here? Inverse relationship?
Inverse, negative.
Negative relationship or inverse relationship? I hope it is getting clear to all of you. सबको ये समझ आ रहा है? Please raise your hands. I want in between the participants to raise their hands. Is this clear till here? Yes, I want others also to. Okay. Right. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to find out the relationship between two variables, right? So this is an example of an inverse relationship. Can anybody give me an example of the direct relationship between two variables? Yes. Anybody who can talk about the direct relationship?
Ma'am, can I give the example?
Yes.
Height and
weight for the certain age.
Height and weight. अगर height ज्यादा होगी तो weight भी ज्यादा होगा. Okay.
मैडम इसी में आ जाएगा मैडम, डिमांड और इसमें प्राइस का रिलेशन पॉजिटिव ही होता है ना. डिमांड इंक्रीज होगी तो डिमांड विल इंक्रीज, देन प्राइस विल इंक्रीज. इसी को
बिल्कुल. This can be also an example. That is, अगर price decreases तो डिमांड क्या होगी आपकी? डिमांड decreases, right? So ये I want to give 2-3 examples. That is why I'm asking you. Yes. Any other example? कोई और भी example? Yes.
Money and consumption.
Money, very good. Money and consumption. ठीक है. अगर आपकी सैलरी बढ़ती है तो consumption will also increase. So there is a direct relationship, right? So this is two types of relationship, and there is no relationship. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है ना? There is no relationship. Can anybody give me an example of no relationship? Anybody in the
Ma'am, rainfall and income.
Rainfall and income, right? Very good. So what is this? There is no relationship between the two variables. So when we are talking about correlation, so what are we trying to find out? What is the thing that we are trying to find out? The relationship between two variables. So the relationship can be, what can it be? Inverse relation, direct relation, or no relation. Inverse relation means one will increase and other will decrease, right? So अगर आप इसका graph देखना चाहते हो, so this can be a graph. ये I have only drawn this. So you can see this. This is a direct relationship, right? If you see there is a straight line, so this indicates what? Direct relationship. It means अगर ये 5,000 है, अगर अगर income 5,000 है तो एक्सपेंडिचर 50,000 है तो ये कितना है 20,000. अगर इनकम इंक्रीज हुई 10,000 तो एक्सपेंडिचर भी बढ़ गया 30,000. सो दिस ग्राफ शोज योर डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द टू वेरिएबल्स. सो लेट्स मूव टू द अनदर एग्जांपल. सो इनडायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप का क्या मतलब होता है? प्राइस एंड डिमांड, राइट? सो इफ लेट्स से दिस इज द प्राइस 30, तो डिमांड विल बी 50 units. If the price increases to 50, the demand will decrease. It becomes 40 units. So this is a negative relationship. Agar if you want to show it graphically, so this is the diagram that you can show it. So, right. So let me take you to this. Yahan par, there is one, this thing that I have made this table. What does it show? So, okay. Okay, one more important thing I would like to say, if it, ये अभी हमने क्या बात करी? We are talking about this thing, the type of relationship, right? But when we try to calculate it, when we try to calculate the correlation, the value lies between -1 to +1. ठीक है? तो अगर आप कोरिलेशन निकालना चाहते हो, if you want to find out the correlation in the mathematical terms, so the value of the correlation between the two variables lies between -1 to +1. So अगर आप एक स्केल लेते हो इस तरह से कोई, है ना, एंड बीच में 0 है, this is here, so it will be -1 here, है ना, एंड इसके बिल्कुल सेंटर में 0 है एंड यहाँ पर -1 है. सॉरी, पॉजिटिव आना. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. ये सबको समझ आ रहा है ना? सो दिस इज द, इज इट क्लियर? प्लीज रेज योर हैंड्स इफ दीज थिंग्स आर गेटिंग क्लियर टू all the participants. I want the participants to be active during my lecture.
Yes, it's very clear.
Okay, so let me take you to this. ये मैं आपको बताती हूँ. So अगर value 1 आती है, दो, if you're trying to find out the value, so if the value comes out to be 1, so it is perfect positive or negative. मतलब +1 आती है और -1 आती है, right? तो it is perfect positive or negative correlation. Perfect positive, right? वैसे this is not admirable. If the value is 1, so it means there are other issues कि 1 आ रही है उसमें, so it is not admirable. So अगर वैल्यू आती है कोरिलेशन की +-0.90 to 99, तो वेरी हाई पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. अगर 0.70 ± to 0.90 आती है, हाई पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. एंड 50 to 70 के बीच में आता है तो इट इज मॉडरेट पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. -30 to 5 आती है तो लो, एंड +1 0.1 to 0.3 आती है वेरी लो पॉजिटिव. एंड अगर इसके बीच में आती है तो इट इज नॉट डिजायरेबल. 0 to 0.1 है ना, 0 to 0.1. तो इफ इट कम्स between this, so it is not good. मतलब it means this, if we divide it here again, this is 0.5 here, positive 0.5 here, right? If we calculate 0.1 here, it is like this, है ना? और यहाँ पर कितना है? This is again -0.1, right? And this is, यहाँ पे 1 है तो इधर this is -0.5, right? So it goes on like this. So if the correlation, the value of the correlations comes here, minus 0.1 to 0.1 positive, इसके बीच में आती है, तो it is not very highly recommended कि there is a correlation between the variables. So it is this zone, minus 0.1 to 0.1. So it is not recommendable कि that is a good correlation, right? So this is what the theory is. So let's do the practical onto this. Let's do the practical. There is a, let's say there is a training score. If a person has been given a training and this is the score that he has obtained, so this is one example. अब उसको practically how to implement this practically, right? So abhi till now we have understood it in a theoretical manner. Now let's understand it in a practical manner, how to implement this correlation, right? And let's take this example. This is one example where the training is given to the employees of a company and this is the score, right? And this is the performance. So there are two variables that you have taken. There is a company, right, that has given training to their employees and this is their scores of the training. So, and this is the performance of the employees after taking the training. So whether these two have any correlation between the two or not. So this is the objective, to find out the correlation between the training scores and the performance of the employee. So this is the main objective to find out, right? So, so let's do this. Go to analyze. Let me start with this. Go to analyze, right? Go to correlate. Please note down the steps that you have to take. What are the different steps to find out the same? So go to analyze, go to correlate and bivariate. Can you see to this? Okay, so let me reset this. So we have two variables. One is the training score and second is the performance. So we want to find out the relationship or correlation between the two. So what I did is I selected this and shifted here. So this place we have to perform the correlation, right? So that is why we have taken this here in this. And correlation coefficient may Pearson is always clicked. So we can go with this and okay. So let's see the results of this. Let's see what is the results that has come. This is the result. Can you all see to this? Let me take to Word file. मैं इसको Word file में ले जाती हूँ. Just give me a minute. Okay, so these are the results that has come, right? And what does it says? Now we can see here. So there are two variables, training score and performance, right? So what is it saying? So it is saying training score with respect to training score is 1, obviously. Training score to training score, if you want to find out the correlation, that will be 1. But training score to performance, the correlation is 0.915. Look at this. This is a high positive correlation between the two variables, that is the training score and the performance, right? So what is this? The training score and the performance. So what we have tried to find out into this is, we have tried to find out the correlation between the training scores and the performance. The value lies between -1 to 1. The value of the correlation कैसे लाई करती है? -1 to +1. यहाँ पर what is the value? That is 0.915. So it is highly positively correlated. Now, whether this value is significant or not, whether the relationship between the two variables, that is the training score and performance, is significant or not. So what you have to see, that is the significant two-tailed test shows it is less than 0.01. It is less than 0.01. So what does this shows? This shows, okay, okay, let me, before this, let me tell you something about hypothesis testing. Are you people aware of this hypothesis testing? There are two hypotheses, null hypothesis right? And what is the alternate hypothesis? There are two types of hypothesis. Hypothesis means you want to see, like null hypothesis, we say there is no significant difference between training score and performance. What does it mean? It means there is no relationship between the two things, right? So this is what it means. And this is your null hypothesis. And what is the alternate? Alternate hypothesis is always the opposite. There is a significant difference between training score and performance. So this is the two hypotheses. What is the hypothesis testing? We want to find out, like now, look, we have find out the value of the correlation between the two things, right? And the value of the correlation has come out to be good, nice, right? Just give me a minute, 8 minutes.
See, instead of putting no significant difference, there is no significant relationship between.
Haji, is there something you're saying?
Say the null hypothesis should be there is no
Haji.
significant relationship between training score and performance.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is what we are trying. We are trying to find out. Matlab, there is a significant difference, huh?
There is no significant relationship.
Sorry, no relation, significant relationship. There is no significant relationship. There is a significant. The common word is difference. Okay, so what is the null hypothesis? There is no significant relationship between training score and, like, the value has come out to be positive and highly correlated. But now we want to check whether there is a significant relationship between these two or not, the training score and their performance, right? So how do we test that? We test that with the help of the hypothesis testing. So this is the next important thing, that we have to go for the hypothesis testing. So in the null hypothesis, when we talk about the null hypothesis, it always is, there is no significant difference, no significant relationship between training score and performance, right? So this is a null hypothesis, and alternate hypothesis is always opposite to the null hypothesis. So there are two hypotheses. One is a null hypothesis and second is the alternate. Null hypothesis always says there is no significant relationship, and what is the alternate hypothesis? There is a significant relationship, right? So there is next thing that is more important into this is when to accept null hypothesis or alternate, right? Now the next important question is, when do we have to accept? Whether we have to accept this hypothesis, the null hypothesis we have to accept, or we have to accept the alternate hypothesis. So how will we come to know about it, right? So this is the next important question. So how does we come to know about it? We come to know through this value, p value.
P value decides.
Yes, the p value, very nice. So what does that decide? The p value decide, right? So here the p value is less than 0.01, right? So this is the p value. Please understand here. Meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay. So when will we come to know कि the null hypothesis is to be accepted or the alternate? So this is the p value, significant value. So this is the p value that will decide whether we have to accept the null or the alternate. So if the p value, let me write it here. If p value is less than 0.05, so we accept alternate hypothesis, and if reverse is true, we accept null hypothesis. Is this point clear? What I have said is, what I have said is if the p value is less than 0.05, right? So we accept or or 0.01. If the p value is less than 0.05 or 0.01, we accept the alternate hypothesis. Otherwise, we accept null hypothesis. Agar ye value, p value, if it is more than this, so we accept the null hypothesis. And what is your alternate hypothesis? That there is a significant relationship between training score.
Score and performance score.
Yes. So this is what the null and alternate. And according to this so we accept the alternate hypothesis. I hope this is clear to everyone. Please raise your hand if it is clear, or if you want me to repeat, I can repeat this as well. You can write this into the chat box. If you want me to repeat, I can repeat this as well. Or if you want to continue, then it's okay. Yes. I hope it is clear to everyone, right? Okay, so shall I move ahead? Should I move ahead to the regression? So this is all about the...
Well, please repeat the analysis part of correlation.
Okay, so look at this. This is the table that we have got for the correlation, right? This is the table. So training score to training score, the value is 1. So obviously, if you find out the correlation between the same variable, so it will be 1. But what is important here, training score with respect to performance. So the value comes out to be 0.915. So we can say here, this is highly positive correlation. What does this value signify? Highly positive correlation. Plus sign is there. So we say this is highly positive correlation, right? Now we want to find out whether there is a significant relationship between training score and performance or not. So in that case, we use the concept of hypothesis testing. Then we try to find out the concept of hypothesis testing. So there are two hypotheses. There are two hypotheses in this case. What is that? Null hypothesis and alternate. So what do we say in null hypothesis? We always say there is no significant relationship between training score and performance. And alternate is the opposite of it, the null hypothesis. So there is a significant relationship between training score and performance. So this is the difference between the two. And when to accept, the next important question is when to accept the null or alternate. If the p value is less than 0.05 or 0.01. So here you can see the value of the correlation. The p value is this 0.001, which is less than 0.05. 0.01. So we accept what? We accept alternate. So what is your alternate hypothesis is? There is a significant relationship between training score and performance. So this is what the correlation is. And this is how you have to perform the correlation, and this is how you have to write this into your paper. When you're writing your paper, so this is how you have to write this into your paper. I hope it is clear. Can we move ahead? So let's move to regression now. So anybody, any of the participant, please tell me what is a regression. Koi bata sakta hai what is a regression? Anybody?
It is the cause effect relationship between two variables. Cause effect.
Hanji.
Causal relationship between the two variables.
एक मिनट, just give me a minute. ये ना हाँ अब ठीक हो गया. हाँ. Okay, Hanji, क्या? What did you say? Can you please speak again?
Causal relationship between the variables, two variables.
Yes. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take an example. There is a farm, right? There is a land, right? And the farmers wanted to grow tomatoes, right? Cultivation of tomatoes is there in a farm. So what are the factors? that will impact the tomatoes production. My question is, there is a farm. The farmer wants to grow tomatoes, right? So what are the factors that impact the production of tomatoes? Please read this, what I have written. Everybody, please read this till here. Yes, everybody, please read this. There is a farmhouse, there is a land, and farmer wants to grow tomatoes. So what are the factors that impacts the production of tomatoes, right? So can we say the soil?
Productivity is the soil.
Productivity of the soil, amount of rainfall,
Fertilizers. Pesticide.
Pesticide, right now. Okay, so Hanji, anything else? Okay, fine. So what we have written here is, the production of the tomatoes in a land will depend on these many factors. These are some of the factors, right? There may be other factors also. So what are the different factors that impacts the production of tomatoes is soil, the content of the soil, amount of rainfall, fertilizers, pesticides, and many others, right? So what are we trying to see? We are trying to see the impact of these variables. What are we trying to see? We are trying to see the impact of these variables on the production of tomatoes. So this is what we are trying to see. So can we say that production of tomatoes, this depends upon, so this becomes a dependent variable, and all these variables here, if I color this, so these all red colored variables, they become the independent variable, right? And production of tomatoes depends on these many variables, ये सारे. तो हम बोल सकते हैं is equal to के left side पे these are the dependent variable, tomato production of tomato is a dependent variable, and on the right side it is the independent variables, right? So what is a regression, right? So what is regression? When we try to find out the impact
One variable
of independent on dependent variables, है ना? Main तो यही होता है. This is what is important, the impact of independent variables on the dependent variables, and how much it is impacted. So what we try to find out through regression, how much is the impact of the independent variable on dependent variable. Are you able to understand? ये सबको समझ में आ रही है चीजें? So the next is types of regression, right? So what are this? Bivariate regression and multivariate. There are basically two types of regression. One is bivariate regression and another is the multivariate. Let's take an example. If I say sales is dependent on advertisement. So this is bivariate regression. Bivariate means when we are trying to find out the relationship between two variables. So this is called as a bivariate relationship. Bivariate regression, right? So, but the above example that I took, this one, what is this example, right? So this is an example. This is an example of multivariate regression where there is more than one independent variable and dependent variable is one. So this is an example of a multivariate regression, and this is an example of a bivariate regression. Bivariate means only two variables are there. multivariate regression when there is more than one independent variable. Okay, so this is the difference between two. Okay, so if we talk about the regression equation, so what is the regression equation talks about? Y is equal to बीटा, ये बीटा यहाँ पे मुझे नहीं पता कैसे लिखा जाएगा, तो मैं इसको A1 लिख रही हूँ यहाँ पर, A1 plus X plus the small e, that is the error term. If we try to write it into the equation, so this is the equation that represents your regression, right? This is how we represent the regression equation, right? So let me make you understand. Y is, let's say, if I have to write it with the help of this, sales is equal to A1 plus admit, sorry, एक minute, यहाँ पर I have forgot to write A2, है ना, and X, और यहाँ पर भी क्या आएगा A2 and advertisement plus the error term E. Okay, so let me tell you what does that mean. This is an example of bivariate regression. So what is a bivariate regression? When only two variables are there here. So we are taking an example. We are trying to find out the relationship between sales and advertisement. So there are only two variables. So it is called as a bivariate regression. So when we write it into the regression equation, so what we write is y is equal to A1. I'll tell you the meaning of each one of the variables. Y is equal to A1 plus A2x plus E. So if we want to write it in this term, this is a normal equation for a bivariate regression. But if we want to write it for sales and advertisement, so what will be the equation? Sales is equal to A1 plus A2 advertisement plus E. So let me take you to an example of this. Let me show you this. This is the same example. Please mute yourself. I think somebody, किसी का ना participant का mic on है. अच्छा, okay, off, okay. Okay, so what I was trying to take you was, so you can see here, when I have plotted, please understand this very carefully. So this is when I have plotted advertisement and sales on X and Y axis. So this is the data. Let's say this is the data for sales and advertisement, right? So this is a live example. This is the sales in crores and advertisement in crores for a company. And we are trying to find out the regression equation for these two variables, where sales is the dependent variable and advertisement is the independent variable, right? So let's plot this. So what I have done is I have plotted this onto a graph, X and Y axis. So what you can see is these are the points. Can you see? ये जो points आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं blue colored. So this is the actual data. This is the actual data. So let's say you have plotted this. So you can see the value of this is 86 5.5. So the first value here, if you see 86 and 5.5, so this is the first value. So for whole the value, this is the points. Can you see the scattered points? And this is the regression line. ये जो line आपको दिखाई दे रही है, this is called as the regression line. And this line is called as, what is a regression line? The best fit line. This is the best fit line that represent all this data of sales and advertisement. Let me repeat this again. How do we represent the regression line? Like this is why we make it in the form of an equation. Y is equal to A plus BX plus E. So what does this Y is equal to A plus BX represent? So let's plot these points, X or Y axis on, this is the example that I'm taking, A and B, sales and advertisement, bivariate regression. So I've plotted this on this graph, X and Y axis. So you can see, so these are the actual values, like ye blue colored is the actual values data. And what is a regression line? Regression line is the best fit line that shows your regression equation Y is equal to A plus BX. So this is what a regression line is, this best fit line. Can you see? This is the best fit line that is encompassing all the points in this graph. Now what is A? what is this A here? This A is when this line, when you increase this line and you take this line to the y-axis, इसको अगर आप और extend कर दो इस line को और ये y-axis पे जब touch करेगी, यहाँ जो point होगा, this is called as the A, and this A is called as the intercept. It is what this regression line, when this regression line touches this y-axis, so that point is called as A, and A is called as the intercept. A is called as the intercept. And what is B? B is the slope. B is called as the slope of this line, right? So this is what the equation is, right? And you can, in the future, let's say this is the regression equation that we have got. If we run this regression equation, let's say we have got this. So we can estimate on the basis of this equation in future, if we spend 30 crores on advertisement, so what will be the amount? Sorry, advertisement pay, if some amount is to be spent on advertisement, so what will be the impact on the sales? So this is what we can forecast in future. So this is how this regression equation helps us to understand. So this is what the regression equation talks about. I hope this is clear to all. Please raise your hands if this is clear. Is this clear to all?
Ma'am, may I ask one question?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, in the example you said tomatoes, production of tomato depends upon 2-3 factors, and here we are only taking advertising. Only
ये मैंने
one factor.
बाइवेरिएट का एग्जांपल बताया आपको ना अभी, ये तो मैंने आपको सिर्फ एग्जांपल देने के लिए बताया था. दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ मल्टीवेरिएट रिग्रेशन. आई एम नॉट टेकिंग दिस एग्जांपल. मतलब ये सिर्फ एग्जांपल देने के लिए समझाया था व्हाट इज अ मल्टीवेरिएट. यहाँ पर मैंने आपको जो एग्जांपल बताया वो सेल्स एंड एडवर्टाइजमेंट बाइवेरिएट का ही बताया है, टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द रिग्रेशन लाइन, what is everything. So this is the example that I have taken in the Excel.
So we will do one more example with 2-3 factors.
Okay, हाँ मैं अभी आपको प्रैक्टिकल करा रही हूँ, अभी प्रैक्टिकल नहीं हुआ. मैं अभी आपको
Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am, please explain this with the help of SPSS.
हाँ मैम वही करने लगी हूँ मैं अभी. I'm
Yes,
going to
yes.
do that. This is
Hello,
the
ma'am.
हाँ जी.
Ma'am, can you please tell me y is equal to ax plus bx में what is a called?
A is the intercept. It means
What?
this regression line. Can you see this regression line? If this
Yes, ma'am.
line is extended and it touches the y-axis, तो x 0 हो जाएगा ना यहाँ पे. तो यहाँ पे जिस पॉइंट पे वो टच करेगा उसको बोलते हैं इंटरसेप्ट, एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड एज ए. ये इसकी वैल्यू होती है ए.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Then thank
And
you.
this is the slope. Yes. So let's do a practical onto this multivariate and bivariate पे करते हैं. ये example है हमारे पास. So there is an example with us. There is a sales, there is advertisement, and there is a direct expenses in crores. This is all figures in crores, right? So you know that the sales is a dependent variable and these two are the independent variables, right? So sales is a dependent variable. We have to find out the relation, the impact of independent variables on sales. So this is what our hypothesis is. This is what we want to find out.
So
This is your
ma'am, this is multivariate.
this is
data, na?
multivariate where
Because there are
is
two
more,
variables, na?
where there is more than two independent variables. So this is multivariate, and when we have two variables in totality, that is a bivariate.
Bivariate.
So first of all, we'll talk about the bivariate. Let's take about sales and advertisement, right? तो हम इसको दोनों तरह से करके देखेंगे. We'll talk about both. Let's say the problem. एक minute, let me. The problem is to investigate if advertisement has a significant impact on sales. right? So let's say this is the problem. This is what we are talking about first, only bivariate, right? So we'll talk about both. The problem is for to find out the bivariate and bivariate regression. That is what we are doing first. So let's do that. So this is this thing. So let's go to analyze. Let's go to regression and linear regression here. Click onto this. Let me reset this. You can see here, there is a dependent variable here. And here you will be putting the independent variable, right? So this place is for the dependent variable and this is for the independent. So sales is the dependent variable and advertisement is the independent, right? So let's do a very simple regression for this. So let's do this and see the results. Let's see that. So this is the result. So what we will be doing is, let me copy these and let me take it to the file. So these are the results. Let me explain all of them one by one. So this is the first table that we have got into the, So what does this variable talks about? Variable entered or removed, right? So what are the two variables that we have taken here is advertisement and dependent variables was the sales. So both the variables has been entered. No variable has been removed by the SPSS itself, right? So both the variables has been taken into consideration when we are doing the output. Now, let's move to the next table, that is a model summary. Please understand, this is the most important table. This is the table, right? R, what does this R tells us? This R tells us the correlationship between the two variables. What does this R tells us? The correlation between the two variables. So positive and high correlation it is showing. This is one thing. Next, so this is the next important thing is your R square. What is the R signifying? That is the correlation between the two variables.
Sales.
Hanji. So what is it showing? The correlationship between the two variables. So this is the first thing. R square, what is it showing? It is showing that kitna hai? This is, let's say 79%. If it is converted to percentage, so what will you say? That is 79%. It means what? It means what? It means that advertisement is able to explain 79% of sales. Rest, jo rest hai, that is explained by other variables that we have not considered. Look, what does this mean? It means, let's understand this R square. R square is 79%. So what does this signify? This means advertisement is able to, what is the independent variable? Advertisement, right? So advertisement is able to explain 79% of the sales, right? So 100% it has to explain. So it is not explaining 100%. So rest is to be explained by the other variables that we have not considered. It is not important कि sales जो है सिर्फ advertisement ही explain करेगा, है ना? और बहुत सारे factors हैं that will explain the sales. So this is the rest that is explained by other variables that we have not considered. So this is what it means. R square is able to, R squared signifies that advertisement is able to explain 79% of the sales. Is it clear now? Next table, I hope it is clear.
Ma'am, adjusted R square, what does this mean?
वो तब लेते हैं जब आपको ये मल्टीवेरिएट होता है, तब लेते हैं. वो कुछ और प्रॉब्लम्स होती है, उसको एडजस्ट करते हैं. इट इज ऑलमोस्ट द सेम. आप देख रहे हो वैल्यू, इट इज ऑलमोस्ट द सेम.
And error should be?
Error is like this is not able to explain by this model.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So next important aspect is, so the ANOVA table, this is the next important table. This, what we have to see, we have to see the significant value here. Like we have got like 79% is being explained by the advertisement. Sales is explained 79. Now we have to see whether our results is significant or not. So this is the next important. What I'm saying is whether the result that we have got is significant or not. So वो कैसे पता लगेगा? From through this ANOVA table. So what do we say? कि यहाँ पर this p value is to be seen. If this value is less than 0.01 or 0.05, then we say this is significant. The advertisement is able to explain 79% of sales is significant. मतलब ये result significant and we can use this, right? So this is what it means. So this is the model that shows the significance. Next है आपका, there is one more table. एक minute, I think I'm not able to. I did not take that. Okay, now this is important. This is another table. This is the last table. Let me take it there only. This is the last table. This is the beta value. Oh, sorry, this is the beta value, right? And this is the significant that we have to see. You just see to this value, like advertisement is significantly impacting or not. So this is the value. This is the beta value. This is the beta value and 30.496 is the slope, right? So this is the slope. So अगर आपको equation बनानी है, तो how will you make the equation from this? कैसे बनाओगे इसको equation? Equation will be sales is equal to 97.26 plus 30.496 of advertisement. So this is the equation that we will get from here. So this is how this regression is to be explained.
A hypothesis testing is same as for correlation and regression.
Yes.
The value
Matlab?
should be less
Yes.
than 0.05
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
same as for
Yes.
correlation and
Yes,
regression. Na?
yes, yes. P value is to be
Less than
yes.
0.01 and 0.05.
जी.
Okay. Okay.
This is for the और अगर आपको इसको अपने उसमें शो करना है, अगर आपको रिजल्ट्स में शो करना है अपनी नोटबुक वगैरह में, so ये एक एग्जांपल है. So this is another example. This is how you have to show in your paper. इसको ये टेबल बनेगा hypothesis H1. So what is the this is another example where servant leadership is leading to life satisfaction, है ना? And this is the beta coefficient. This is R square value, F value, and P value is significant or not. So hypothesis supported or not. So this is how you have to, when you are writing a paper, this is how you have to report these values into your paper like this. And then you can write from here that from the table 1, from this table 1. So what is the regression? What is the, like, it supports like servant leadership is leading to life satisfaction. There is a significant impact of servant leadership on life satisfaction. And the P value is less than 0.01. So it means that we accept this hypothesis, right? And how much it is impacting, that is 27.6%. So this is how you have to write this into your paper when you are writing your paper, right? So this is an example of a single bivariate regression, right? So similarly, you can go for a multivariate. So let's say there is a direct expenses as well. There is another variable. So let's do this. This is regression here. Go to linear regression. And now you can see dependent variable is 1, obviously. And now you want to have a more than one independent variable. So we clicked here and we put the advertisement and direct expenses at one place, right? And click on OK. So you can see the results almost you can see these are the tables that you have got. Let me take it to the other place to make it more clear. Let me. So again, what is the first table? Variables entered and removed. So you can see here, they have not removed any variable. if they would have removed, so यहाँ पर होता कोई, otherwise direct expenses and advertisement they have entered it. And next is the model summary. So what does this is, this value is the value of correlationship, right? And this R square, so here we will take the adjusted R square. So what does it mean? It means that the direct expenses and advertisement is able to explain 77.6%. So how will you write this? You will write this direct expenses and advertisement could explain 77.6%. This is what you will write to the sales. So this is what you will write. What will you write here from this model summary analysis? The direct expenses and advertisement could explain 77.6%, this table, and whether the results are significant or not. So how will you come to know that? From the ANOVA table. If the p value is less than 0.01, so the results are significant. So this is what it shows. The results are significant. Next, another table I have not taken, I feel. This is the last table, and we can see to this as well. This is the last table of it. What does this table shows? This again, the, oh, galat le liya maine shayad. Ek minute, let me. Okay, this is the last table, है ना? So यहाँ पर what does it signify? It signifies this is the beta value 97.875, and what is the coefficient of advertisement 30.118. Direct expenses coefficient is 2.174. So यहाँ पर ये show कर रहा है. Look at this. In totality, the results are significant. The individual advertisement is significant, but direct expenses is not significantly impacting the sales. Right? ये देख सकते हो आप. It is not significantly impacting the sales. In totality, if you take the model, if you take the whole model, it is impacting. But what is mainly impacting? Advertisement is the one that is mainly impacting and not the direct expenses, right? So यहाँ से अगर आपको equation बनानी है, तो हम इसको रिमूव कर सकते हैं और फिर दोबारा से रिजल्ट्स को चेक कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज या फिर हम इंडिविजुअल भी सेल्स और डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंसेस को चेक कर सकते हैं टू सी हाउ मच इज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंसेस ऑन सेल्स, राइट? एंड सिमिलरली इफ वी वांट टू report it into our paper, so how we are going to report this into our paper? Like this, the one, this is again that we have to report into our paper. So this is how we will be showing it into the paper when we are writing a paper. So this is how you have to report. I hope it is clear. Any query?
Ma'am,
Ji.
what is significantly impacting? Because I don't understand.
Significantly impacting means like this data that we have, that एक minute, let me take you to the data. मैं Excel file में दिखा दूँ. It means significantly impacting means look, you just see the data here. Let's analyze the data. The amount on advertisement is 5.5 crores and sales is 86. So if the company increases the amount on advertisement, the sales also increases. If company increases the advertisement cost to 6.5, it also increases. So what is this? This means this has a impact onto this, significantly impact kar raha advertisement on sales. Can you see
Yes,
to this?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what it means. But at times it is also not impacting, like 7.5 यहाँ पे भी कर रहा है. अब ये देखिए यहाँ पर. अब they have decreased the amount on expenditure, but sales has increased. But so you know, अगर ये ऐसा होता तो आपके जो रिजल्ट्स आए थे ना, हमारे जो रिजल्ट्स आए थे फर्स्ट वाले में, क्या आया था हमारा? दिस इज 79% इसको एक्सप्लेन कर रहा है ना. तो
Yes,
मैं
ma'am.
आपको क्या बताने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ, यहाँ पे कई ऐसी जगह होगी जहाँ पे ये इसको सिग्निफिकेंटली इम्पैक्ट नहीं कर रहा होगा, तभी तो रिजल्ट 79% आया. है ना। और अगर ये पूरा ही कर रहा होता कि जैसे इस ये बढ़ रहा है तो ये भी बढ़ रहा है, तो ये पूरा दिखाता, है ना, बट दैट इज नॉट ट्रू पिक्चर, कभी भी ऐसा हो नहीं सकता। तो सिग्निफिकेंटली इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है, मतलब अगर ये बढ़ रहा है तो ये भी बढ़ रहा है। सो दिस इज व्हाट इट मीन्स।
Okay, thank you, ma'am.